Hello everyone, my name is Dani. Welcome back to my channel. And as some of you guys know, I am a Kiwi from New Zealand, but I have been living in Los Angeles for about half a year now. I know that before I came out here, I was trying to look up videos like this, but I couldn't find too many. So I thought, what better idea than to help those of you who have the dream of moving to the City of Angels, Los Angeles. And also, if you're one of my followers who are very interested in New Zealand and wanting to move there, I am going to film a video on my tips on moving to New Zealand as well. But today, what we're going to go through are pretty much all of my tips and tricks that I wish I knew before I came here that are going to serve you really well to get yourself really set up before you even arrive in Los Angeles. So today we're going to go through everything that you should do and should know when you're moving out here, and this is going to include what your ideal mindset looks like, tips on finding the best suburbs to live in Los Angeles, along with saving money, finding a place to live, transportation, and lastly tips on getting a job here. Just before I start this video, I'm really interested to know what are the top 3 places you guys want to live. I'm assuming Los Angeles if you've clicked on this video, but other than that, where are your dream locations around the world? Hawaii is the #1 place I really want to experience living in at some point, and I also would love to live in Australia, and then maybe somewhere else like Bali or the Greek islands look beautiful. But yeah, let me know where are your dream locations to live in the comments. So firstly, let's go through the mindset shift that you need to have to get out here. So coming to Los Angeles is a really, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, it's a challenging thing, and it's a big enough deal if you live in the United States and you're trying to move out here, let alone another country like I did. So as far as mindset goes, you want to have a really clear vision on what you want to come out here to do so that you can set achievable and realistic goals, and that way you're going to stay so much more motivated if you have a plan. So think about what it is that you want to get out of moving to the city and what your goals are, and when you get clear on that, it'll be so much easier to actually action on these aspirations and dreams. Yes, Los Angeles is an incredibly expensive city, but I'm telling you, you can make it work if you want to live here bad enough. So when moving to LA, you've really just got to keep level-headed and stay grounded and stay true to who you are, because there's a lot of stereotypes out there about the type of people that live in this city, and yes, they do exist. It's a very diverse city, and there are a lot of materialistic people, a lot of fake people, a lot of people that just care about your followers and all of that type of thing. But it doesn't have to get to you. It doesn't have to be your experience in LA. So as long as you stay true to yourself and what you care about, I think that you can have an amazing time here. Overall, it really is an incredible experience here. There's so much you can do that you can't do in other cities, and there's just a ton of fun to be had here. This city has taught me so much, and I have grown my self-confidence so much more than what it was when I was back in New Zealand. There'll be people in your life that will tell you that you can't do it, that you don't have enough money, that you need this and you need that, and it's only for celebrities and actors and actresses and you're not good enough. Don't listen to them. If you want to move here, or if you want to move anywhere in the entire world, I'm telling you, if you have the right mindset, you can achieve it. Moving to Los Angeles is one of the best things I've ever done in my entire life. Yes, it has equally been probably the most challenging thing I have ever done in my entire life too. It has absolutely tested me. I've had days where I've just been broken, incredibly stressed, and you know, I've kind of dealt with it all. But I honestly wouldn't change it for anything, because from coming here, I've been able to grow so much as a person, experience another part of the world, which is absolutely beautiful and has so many opportunities and so much to offer. And I really wouldn't trade that for anything. So if you personally are being called to move to Los Angeles, if you've got something inside of you that's telling you this is what you are supposed to do, do not fight that. 100% commit to it. If you're driven enough and you want it to happen, you can totally make it happen for yourself. You just have to genuinely believe in yourself and that it's something you can achieve, and if you put your mind to it, you totally can do it. And the reason why I came here, if you were wondering, is I got an internship working with some of the entertainment studios in Hollywood, so I basically came over here for that. Let's talk about money. Yes, unfortunately you do need money if you want to live in Los Angeles. If you want to move out here, you're gonna need some coin, although you may not need as much as you think. So I would recommend saving up at least 2 to 3 months worth of rent before you move out here, and that's just because you've got to keep in mind the fact that you'll have to pay a bond, which is usually 1 month's rent of somewhere that you might be living, and along with that it may take you a little while to find a job, so you want to be able to comfortably have enough money to pay for the first couple of months of being here if you don't yet have secure employment. And even if you do have secure employment like I had coming over here, I spent a lot more money than what I was hoping to, just on the things associated with moving to a new place and just doing things like wanting to go experience your city, go and try some new food and some activities, which definitely adds up. And housing was absolutely more expensive than what I anticipated it to do, along with just general life expenses of living in the city. But don't let that hold you back. If you really want to make it work here, I don't think you need to have like 10-20 grand in your account to do it. I do think you should have a couple of grand saved up, but it's definitely achievable with that amount. So what I like to do is, if you are hopefully working or at least with a part-time job, just put half of what you're earning into your savings account if you can afford to do so, or whatever amount you can afford after you've paid your bills for the week. Put it in another account, and then when it's out of sight, it's kind of out of mind, so you're not tempted to use that money and pay for things on a daily basis, and before you know it, you will have enough money to move here. Let's move on to the best suburbs to live in Los Angeles. Now this does depend on quite a few factors, so it's a little bit tricky for me to give advice since it's kind of a personal thing, but I'll try and generalize it as much as I possibly can. First things first, not all that glitters is gold, sweetie. LA is not what I thought it was going to be like before I moved here. I had visited before, but let me tell you, being a tourist in the city and actually living here is a totally different thing. When I first got here, I lived in Hollywood for a few months, and when you tell people you live in Hollywood, they think you're living it up with all the celebrities and you're just in some kind of mansion in this beautiful neighborhood. No, that's not what Hollywood is at all. The Hollywood Hills is a beautiful neighborhood up by like Griffith Park, the Hollywood sign. That whole area is lovely, but Hollywood itself and Hollywood Boulevard, which is like the central area where the Walk of Fame is and all the really touristy stuff, it's disgusting. It's incredibly dirty. There's sadly so many homeless people around. It's just not a nice place to be. I personally just lived in Hollywood because it was close to my job, so that worked out well for me. But if I had the choice, I would not live in Hollywood again. On the plus side of Hollywood though, there is a ton of good entertainment and really cool rooftop bars and that kind of thing. If that's what you're into, Hollywood can definitely provide it for you. I think it is very expensive for the area, although it is very central to other parts of LA. So if that's important for you, then Hollywood might be an option that you want to consider. On the flip side of that, there's also West Hollywood, which obviously on the west side of Hollywood, this place is like a whole nother city. And that's what fascinates me about Los Angeles so much, is that every little suburb is its own unique pocket of culture and diversity. You honestly can just go to a different city in Los Angeles or a different suburb and you feel like you're in a completely different place. So West Hollywood is really well known for their LGBT scene and their nightlife. going out in West Hollywood is so much fun, and it's also vastly different to Hollywood in terms of the cleanliness, and it feels a lot safer. The houses are beautiful. It's really a lovely area. So I would totally live in West Hollywood if you can afford it, although it is one of the priciest suburbs in LA. Close to Hollywood, you've also got somewhere called Koreatown, which can be a little bit sketchy, although I have heard of people finding really reasonably priced apartments in this area, and it's also pretty central to downtown LA and Hollywood and other parts of the city. So if that's important to you, Koreatown could be a place to consider. East of Hollywood, we've also got Silver Lake and Echo Park, and these areas remind me the most of Wellington in New Zealand, where I was living before I came here. These areas, especially Silver Lake, have a really like hipster vibe to them. There's a lot of cool musicians hanging out there. There's record shops, a ton of cool coffee shops, and that kind of thing. So if that's your jam, Silver Lake honestly looks like a really cool place to live. I would totally consider living there if I worked close to Silver Lake. But keep in mind, your commute from Silver Lake to, for example, the beach is going to be a long way because it's not close to the water at all. It's going to take you, let me check. So just to give you an idea, driving from Silver Lake to the beach or Santa Monica Beach is going to take you around 40 minutes, and traffic can make that a whole lot worse as well. And just to give you an example of how spread out and ginormous Los Angeles is, it's about almost 20 miles from Silver Lake to Santa Monica Beach. So that's a pretty far way. This city is huge. So my biggest tip in terms of housing would honestly be live close to work, because otherwise your commute is just gonna be terrible, and everyone knows LA has like the worst traffic. So I would say live as close to work as possible, and if you're just moving here and don't have a job yet, just live somewhere central like Hollywood, West Hollywood, maybe somewhere on the west side like Culver City or Palms or Westwood. Somewhere like that you can get to a lot of areas fairly easy. So we've also got Pasadena, and I haven't personally visited this area, although this is around East LA as well, but quite far out from the central areas. But it's a really lovely family area from what I've heard, if you're someone looking to move here with your family. We've also got downtown LA, which I admittedly have not spent a ton of time in just because I'm not a huge fan of the big city life. I prefer to be by the beach, but downtown LA is really well known for its world-class theaters, museums, restaurants, and that kind of scene. There's also a really good nightlife and arts scene in downtown LA, although the areas of downtown LA are very, very divided. From what I've learned from living in Los Angeles, the divide between the rich and the poor is extreme. And downtown LA is home to Skid Row, which is where thousands of homeless people in Los Angeles live. So it can be a very dangerous area to be in, although there are nicer parts of downtown LA as well. But you can easily just turn a corner and be in a not so great area, so you've really got to be picky about where you choose to live if you want to live, if you want to move to downtown Los Angeles. In terms of the beach towns, we've got, well, I live in Santa Monica right now, close to the beach, which is one of the most popular beaches in Los Angeles. Then we've also got north of that, there's Pacific Palisades, and then Malibu, and then if you come back down to Santa Monica, this area is really, really great. I'm so happy I moved here. It's very clean, very safe, close to the beach. The temperatures are also a little cooler than other parts of LA because you have the ocean breeze, which is super nice because LA gets really hot. Yeah, so I'd totally recommend living in Santa Monica if you can afford it, but it's also pretty expensive here. And next to Santa Monica, we've got Venice Beach, which Venice is hands down, I think, the coolest suburb in Los Angeles. If I could live anywhere, it would be there. There's so much culture and art and just really beautiful places. cool places to eat out, and it is a little more grungy and a little more dirty than Santa Monica, but it's definitely very cool. So it all depends on what you're looking for. And next to Venice, we've got Marina del Rey, which I don't really know a ton about, but it seems like a very nice area, and it has a nice little harbor with a ton of yachts and boats and stuff, so it's very pretty. In general, I would say after being here a few months, I have to say the west side of LA is the best. If you can live on the west side, I would recommend it. So that's anywhere from Santa Monica, Venice, but then also places like Westwood, Palms. Culver City is a really good one as well that isn't actually too expensive. I would definitely consider living just anywhere on the west side over Hollywood, but that's just my personal opinion. In general, I found the west side of LA just to be a lot cleaner and more friendly, although I don't know, maybe that was my personal experience. And then we've got Beverly Hills, the famous Beverly Hills. Now this is the place that you think of when you think of LA and the glitz and glamour and the mansions and the celebrities. Well, actually a lot of celebrities don't even live in Beverly Hills, they live up in the Hollywood Hills or Malibu or somewhere else. But the Beverly Hills is definitely home to some of the world's most famous people and some of the world's most beautiful houses. And I always find it so funny because in the really dry months you see everyone else's lawns are just like brown, there's no greenery. You drive past Beverly Hills, they've paid for all the sprinkler water, so their gardens are looking fresh and green all year round, honey. But yeah, Beverly Hills, it is livable for some people. You can find some okay priced apartments, although in general I'd say it would be a little difficult. And lastly, we've got the Valley, which is more in North LA, kind of past Hollywood, up in that direction, North Hollywood and above. The Valley is an interesting place. The Valley is known to be the porn capital of the world, which I know that's like hilarious, but it's what it's known for. And it's also where they filmed The Workaholics, which I love that show. So the Valley isn't known to be the most glamorous of places, and your commute will be long if you're working in one of the more central Los Angeles areas. Although you can find some really nice housing for way more affordable prices than pretty much every other suburb I've talked about so far in this video. So if prices are important to you, then the Valley is definitely somewhere you want to consider looking. But keep in mind, it will get hotter than most of the rest of LA in the summer months. It's usually always a few degrees warmer in the Valley, for sure. Renting in Los Angeles and the prices of doing so is kind of insane. There's like 30 and 40-year-old people that live with roommates here. Yes, some of them choose to, but personally, ideally when I'm 30 and 40 years old, I don't want to be having roommates. But that's the reality of living in an expensive city like this one. So I would recommend 100% get yourself some roommates. You're gonna save a ton of money. So I'm gonna leave in the description some really great places to find roommates, including some Facebook pages and some other websites I've used that have really come in handy. Having roommates can also be a really great way to have a good support system and to make friends and expand your network and meet new people in the city. In terms of finding a place, if you want to do a 12-month lease, that's what's most common here. Although I personally have decided to sublet or do month-to-month rentals, which is so much more flexible if you need to leave in a hurry and that kind of thing. And also subletting can be great because if you're going to sublet someone's room for a few months or however long, it often means they'll still have their furniture in the room. So you're going to save a ton of money by not having to purchase a brand new bed and whatever else you may need for the bedroom. So subletting is a really great way to transition into living in LA. And I have found my sublets here through a friend and through a connection for the first one, and then the second one through a really great roommate finder app. So I will leave that app and I will leave the Facebook pages that have also helped me in the description of this video. If you don't want to go the roommate route and you do just want to get a place on your own, the best places to look would be this website called Westside Rentals is supposedly very good, along with another one called Zillow. And also getting an Airbnb can be a great way to transition here as well, because It's going to be really tricky if you don't have friends to stay with when you first arrive here, and you ideally want to get a place before you move here, but it's tricky trying to trust people online. You need to be wary of getting scammed by them. It's always best to meet people in person. So yeah, an Airbnb for a couple of weeks can be a great way for you to have somewhere to live while you're looking for new places and meeting potential roommates in person. That would definitely be a great way to start off in LA. LA is one of the most expensive cities in the entire world. It's the third most expensive city in the United States, behind San Francisco and New York City. So that's definitely a factor to consider when moving here. When it comes to pricing for rentals, it is slightly cheaper over the colder winter months when there's less people wanting to move here. So that may be something to consider in terms of the time of year you want to come over to LA. So I've just looked it up online, and it says the average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles is $2,000 to $3,000 plus utilities per month, which is so much money. That's so insane. LA, why you gotta do this to me? But it could be a little closer to around $1,500 if you live in maybe an area like Koreatown or somewhere in the valley, a little bit further away from the central hubs. It is possible to get a 1-bedroom or a studio closer to that kind of budget, but you'll really have to look hard because they're still pretty rare even in those kinds of places. So the last tip I have in terms of the living situation is to just bring the least amount of stuff that you can, because trust me, you don't need as many things as you think, and it's going to be a ton of money if you're going to bring over like 10 suitcases, or if you're going to get your bed transported from your state you live in now, or get a moving truck and all of this stuff. So obviously if you really think you need it, then do it, but in general you honestly do not need as much as you think. Also, the weather is really nice here most of the year, so you're not going to need a ton of like winter clothing or any of that kind of thing. Now let's talk about transportation. Most of you already know, but if you don't, the traffic it's insane. It's not human, okay? It's really bad in LA, but most people do drive here. All of my friends drive. I'm the only one that doesn't drive. I don't drive because I just don't have a car. It's too expensive for me to get a car, and we drive on the other side of the road in New Zealand, so I'm not really confident with the road rules and everything here. But basically people say that you just can't survive in LA without a car. Well, look at me, I'm doing fine. You definitely can. I have had my fair share with using public transport here. It's not the greatest. The buses aren't that good, but they're okay. They usually get here on time. The metro service is really great, which goes from Santa Monica to downtown LA. So that's just a train that is always on time, because it's not really, you know, it doesn't get held up in traffic like the buses do. So it's not too bad. And the biggest thing is, if you're not going to have a car here, you want to live in a walkable neighborhood. So whenever I was looking at houses, I would go on Google Maps and do the street view and literally just pretend I'm walking around, see what's around my area, make sure it looks safe enough. So it's really good. You can also check online what the walk score is. I don't know exactly how they calculate that, but it's basically just how walkable your location is to other areas and things like grocery stores and gyms and schools and all of that type of thing. So that's really good to know if you aren't going to have a car here. If you are going to have a car, that's great. Be prepared for the traffic. For instance, the other day, I don't know why the traffic was so insane. From where I live in Santa Monica to Culver City, it usually takes like 15 minutes to get there. On this particular day, Google Maps said it was going to take 55 minutes. So sometimes traffic can get extremely bad here, so be aware of that. Like I said, live close to your job, and if you don't have a garage and you have to do street parking, the street parking in LA with the street sweeping and all this stuff going on means you can usually only park on the street certain hours of the day, certain days, and it's very confusing. So make sure you know what you're getting yourself into, because Los Angeles parking tickets start from about $60–70. So have fun. So last but not least, finding a job here. I was lucky enough that I already had one before I got to LA, but if you don't, obviously it's going to be ideal if you can have a job secured from back home before you come out here. So I would definitely try to do that. And the biggest job website is Indeed, where I've had some good luck with finding things on there. There's also one called, I think, like Job Monster. Craigslist is also a popular place to look for work, but you have to be a little bit more careful with that one, as it's not quite as safe. I would say it would be easiest to just save up enough money to get a place and find a job once you've got here, just because a lot of companies won't even consider applicants if they don't already currently live in Los Angeles, just because that's a whole thing for them to deal with you moving here, finding a place. If it doesn't work out, they're not going to be able to employ you. So it's going to be a lot easier if you move here first and can go out and like meet people and do interviews in person and just talk to people face to face. It's going to be probably easier to find a job, although like I said, if you can do it online before you move out and just do Skype interviews and you manage to get the job, that's even better. There's also opportunity for side hustles, and by that I mean LA is a huge city, so there's a bunch of different side hustle companies you can work for. Maybe like being an Uber driver, or one that I do is being a WAG walker. So I had to go through a series of tests, and now I get notifications on my phone when dogs need to be walked in my area, and I've actually got a WAG walk in about 20 minutes, so I better finish up this video. But I would totally recommend having a look online and seeing what little side hustles you can do like this that you can fit, and you can easily fit them around your schedule because you can just sign on and off whenever you want to start working. So it works out really well and a good way to earn a bit of extra cash in this crazy city. So I really do hope this video gave you guys some more insight into what it is like and how to move to Los Angeles. If I didn't go through anything that you really want to know, or if you have specific questions on a particular topic, please leave your comments down below, or feel free to reach out and message me, and I'll do my best to get back to you. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you don't want to move to LA, don't worry, my regular other videos are still happening. But yeah, have a great week guys, and I'll talk to you very, very soon. Bye!